Please be advised that recent news coverage has featured graphic content, so viewer discretion is recommended. We appreciate your attention and would like to acknowledge truthers for their exceptional contributions to the online discourse.
Minding my own business.
In some detail his own personal reaction, and two words apply: history and momentum.
Question, sir. Now that you're asking black supporters to vote for you, why should black voters trust you?
Biden actually did something that was impossible. Both sides hate him. Both sides. That was a hard thing to do. Unification.
Leading former President Trump.
So we never really got the credit we deserved for that, with the ventilators and all of the different things that we did, the outfits, a lot of things. We were producing in New Hampshire, different places, masks. We had mask factories opening.
Thank you for tuning in. Live backwards spells evil. Keep that in mind. We will be examining the notable events that occurred during July and August 2024. On July 13th, 2024, news broke out about former President Donald Trump's campaign trail event in Butler, Pennsylvania, a crucial state for the upcoming election. Here's what we gathered from various news outlets. When shots rang out, a bullet reportedly scraped Donald Trump's right ear, leaving his mugshot, pre-prog pun intended.
You know, the other day, Biden was saying, I got big crowds, meaning him. He gets big crowds. He doesn't know what a big... And there were like 93 people there. 93, you know what that is? That's where the front row Joes sit, right here, 93. We got more than 93 front row Joes. Hello, Butler, and hello to Pennsylvania. I'm thrilled to be back.
The speech began with a disclaimer, as Trump repeatedly mentioned the number 93, a seemingly random figure that matches the ordinal value of propaganda.
What's interesting is the all-too-familiar numbers from the date numerology. Truthers right away point out that the event occurred on July 13th. Since this made headlines globally, we should take note the significance of July 13th being written internationally as 1, 3, and 7. The firearm was reportedly fired from 137 meters away from the subject. So the firing distance involved 1, 3, and 7, just like the date this all took place. It's interesting that all hell broke loose in a swing state, a crucial state for the upcoming election. The phrase swing state equals 137 English ordinal, just like the date of the event. A newspaper reported that the bullet caused, in quotations,
a 2-centimeter wide wound on Trump's right ear.
Intriguingly, in the English ordinal cipher, a 2-centimeter wide wound equals 137 as well.
Additionally, mind control also equals 137, and 137 is the 33rd prime number. Let's run through some of the 33s many of you truthers have noticed. Within the crowd at the event, someone was holding up the sign behind Trump, which reads, "You're fired." Fired equals 33 in the full reduction cipher. The event happened 3,030 days after Donald Trump's tombstone appeared in Central Park.
Lavender Wells posted that the Biff Tannen assassination attempt clocks in 33 years, 33 weeks, and 3 days after the first anniversary of Back to the Future 2.
Lead poisoning. What about the police, Biff? Again, I own the police!
Recall that Donald took the rotten opportunity to pump the fist in the air after it all went down, which looks strangely like the top of Biff's cane in Back to the Future.
Back to the Future series writer Bob Gale has revealed that the trilogy's villain, Biff Tannen, is based on Donald Trump, putting an end to fan speculation.
Trump has also inspired fictional characters. Bombastic Biff from Back to the Future 2 was actually based on the Donald, according to the screenwriter.
My distant relative. I don't see any resemblance. So he says, how would you like to be rich? So I say, sure. So he lays this book on me. All I have to do is bet on the winner, and I'll never lose.
This connection is all the more reinforced by Trump's cameo with the Back to the Future cast in Season 1, Episode 22 of Spin City.
Mr. Trump here wrote The Art of the Deal. Then he wrote a new bestseller, The Art of the Comeback.
Back to the community's list of 33, Trump media stock reportedly soared 33% after the incident. Trump posted on X after the event that he would continue with his schedule and that he will be leaving at 3:30 p.m. Weird that Reagan's assassination attempt happened on a 3/3. Moving on. The day of the shooting was exactly 3 months, 3 weeks, and 3 days before the election. Former President Donald J. Trump equals 333 ordinal, while presidential election 2024 is 333 in reverse ordinal. That's enough to believe that the blood was fake and the bullet a sham, rendering the event an inside job staged by the U.S. government itself in coalition with Trump and the Secret Service. Meaning the live broadcast and the scene we witnessed was, of course, entirely theatrics. Fake news, folks. Trump tried to harvest sympathy to further his chances in swinging the state of Pennsylvania in his favor. Case closed on our end, yet let's digress.
Kimberly Cheatle became the director of US Secret Service 666 days before the event. Weird, right?
We had to issue a subpoena to get you to show up today. That is not transparent, by the way. Was this tragedy preventable, yes or no?
Yes.
Is the Secret Service fully cooperating with our committee?
Yes.
Okay, you say you're fully cooperating with this committee. On July 15th, this committee sent you a list of demands of information that we wanted. Has the Secret Service provided this committee a complete list of all law enforcement personnel that were there that day? Have you done that? Have you provided a list to the Oversight Committee? Yes or no?
I will have to get back to you on that.
That is a no. Have you provided all audio and video recordings in your possession to this committee, as we asked on July 15th, yes or no?
I would have to get back to you.
That is a no. You're full of shit today. You're just being completely dishonest.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr.
Chairman, I want to.
Come on.
We have to maintain decorum in this committee, no matter how
have you provided
upset we
any
get.
and all memos to this committee that we've asked you on July 15th? Have you provided all memorandums within the Secret Service?
I would have to get back to you on
that. That is a no. You are being dishonest or lying. You're being dishonest here with this committee. These are important questions that the American people want answers to, and you're just dodging and talking around it in generalities. And we had to subpoena you to be here, and you won't even answer the questions. We have asked you repeatedly to answer our questions. This isn't hard. We haven't gotten a single document or piece of information or data from you or your agency in related to the rally that we have asked you for. What time did law enforcement become aware that there was an individual on the roof with a clear line of sight to President Trump?
I am still verifying timelines.
Of course, 9 days in, you have no answers. How many minutes went by between the time law enforcement saw and took photos of crooks and the shooting? How many minutes?
I am still verifying timelines.
57 minutes.
You've confirmed that the assassin was identified as suspicious 57 minutes prior to the shooting. Was the suspicious individual ever approached by an agent? Was any contact ever made with him?
Not to my knowledge.
Is that the standard protocol for someone who is identified as suspicious?
The protocol would be to locate the individual.
We have dozens of rally goers who have identified him and not one agent on the ground. There are many, many, many agents on the ground, local law enforcement, Secret Service. No one was able to identify him. I find this rather maddening, especially now knowing that you do have answers from the FBI, who you have been passing the buck to this entire hearing, not answering a congressional hearing. Members of Congress, while you are under oath and under a subpoena, you need to be fired. You do not need to hold this position. You are not the best for this job. I am over my time, but I cannot tolerate your watch any longer, and I'm going to continue to call daily for you to be removed from your position, ma'am.
The director of the Secret Service resigned today, one day after admitting the assassination attempt on Donald Trump was the agency's most significant operational failure in decades.
We were supposed to get a face-to-face briefing with the Secret Service snipers whenever they arrived, and that never happened. And we had no communication with the Secret Service.
You had no communication with the Secret Service at all on that Saturday?
Not until after the shooting.
And by then?
It was too late.
Warrior Code noticed Butler, PA equals 95 EO, like Deep State. The alleged blood on his face was staged to look like the Serpent tongue from NASA, given Trump started the US Space Force. It hints at his role in the future, since his name Donald J. Trump matches 148 like Project Bluebeam. Another X post quotes, Doug Mills, a veteran photographer for the New York Times, took both of these photographs. How fortunate. How odd is it that this assassination attempt event was foreshadowed in the Illuminati card game by these 3 cards? Check out this stream from Bro Sanchez. He's an expert in syncretism.
Let's go to the Illuminati cards real quick. Check that one out. Now, how accurate is that? Now, Trump said he was grazed in the face, right, by a bullet. Look at the Illuminati card where they got the bullet flying right there by the cheek now. You got to remember, he's an actor. He just a puppet on the world stage. This Trump-like demeanor, this spirit of the Antichrist, they've put that in several leaders around the world, and their people are responding just like MAGA supporters. So Trump is a psychological operation. Trump is not just a president of the United States. Trump is a world president. Trump's family has negotiations and businesses and networks going on all over the world more than any other president. That's a conflict of interest. Trump is damn near a foreign government trying to take power in America. Trump talks about him caring for American people, but all of his businesses is overseas and most of them is in China. Oh my God! These guys are not carrying out the agenda of the people. They carrying out the agenda of the UN and the World Economic Forum. There's already a one world government. Every leader around that's under that UN, under that League of Nations, they're serving out the UN's agenda under a different face. And everybody think that their leader is doing what thou wilt. They all got a shared plan coming from the people. This illusion that you have a government got to stop.
2 days after the phony assassination attempt, Trump was gloating at the Republican National Convention where he accepted his nomination. He was wearing a white ear bandage, which equals 123 ordinal-like conspiracy, and shots fired. The entire event felt like it was MK Ultra propaganda.
He is here tonight to show his courage, his defiance against somebody who tried to kill him. You will not take this man down. He has the courage, the strength, and he will be the next president of the United States. Ladies and gentlemen, the 45th President of the United States and soon to be the 47th President of the United States, please welcome Donald J. Trump.
My name is Amber Rose. I'm here tonight to tell you, no matter your political background, that the best chance we have to give our babies a better life is to elect Donald Trump President of the United States.
Vision for the Blind posted this connection, that scenes from the RNC looked like scenes from the movie Idiocracy from 2006.
He's got a higher IQ than any man alive. He's gonna fix everything.
The price of food and gas and housing is out of control. And the only person who can clean this up is Donald Trump.
He'll fix the problems with all the dead crops. He's gonna make them grow again.
He's gonna win in November, and we're all gonna be champions again when he wins.
I give you my word. He's gonna fix the economy.
Let Trumpomania run wild, brother. Let Trumpomania make America great again.
Benny Johnson posted, "Watch. Joe Biden was asked how his career would end before he was even sworn into office. Biden says, 'I'll develop some disease and say I have to resign.' Kamala then cracks a crooked smile. This has always been the plan.
I'll develop some disease and say I have to resign. We don't have that. We haven't, and we discussed it.
Breaking news, President Biden has tested positive for COVID.
21st of July, Joe Biden drops out of race and endorses Kamala Harris.
I've made my views known. I'd like to thank our great Vice President Kamala Harris. She's experienced, she's tough, she's capable. She's been an incredible partner to me and a leader for our country. I really don't give two anymore. Biden out.
Truth Zone posted this. Donald Trump donated to Kamala Harris's campaign back in 2011. It's all one big club and we're not in it. 26th of July, meeting with Israel's President Netanyahu. A few of you noticed Trump's ear magically healed.
This post highlights how Trump's ear seemed to heal super fast. Trump's ear regenerated like Wolverine. It's hard to believe he went from a 2 centimeters injury on July 13th to having it look healed by July 26th. just 13 days later.
Former President Donald Trump met today with Israel's Prime Minister at Mar-a-Lago. Here's some pictures from their meeting. Prime Minister Netanyahu and Trump took questions from reporters in the room.
27th July. Trump made hideous comments at the Believers Summit. In 4 years, you won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians.
Vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed, it'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians.
He also let a Freudian slip get out when he said this.
I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian. I love you. Get out. You gotta get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not gonna have to vote.
Look, Trump's allegiance with Israel should come at no shock that Trump is actually trained in Kabbalah.
Firstly, Kamala Harris's performance was undeniably compelling. While she glossed over much of her past, she does cut to the chase about the shortcomings of Donald Trump, which is at least a relief to hear the elephant addressed.
Before I was elected vice president, and before I was elected a United States senator, I was an elected attorney general and an elected district attorney. And before that, I was a courtroom prosecutor. So in those roles, I took on perpetrators of all kinds. Predators who abused women, fraudsters who ripped off consumers, cheaters who broke the rules for their own gain. So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type.
On the other hand, conservatives have criticized the rally for Megan Thee Stallion's provocative performance, with dancers in miniskirts and songs with suggestive background noises. It's certainly debatable whether sexualizing a political event is appropriate. What stands out most, though, is how Kamala Harris is often referred to as black.
We're about to make history with the first female president, the first black female president.
So it's interesting that Donald Trump says this during an interview.
Some of your own supporters, including Republicans on Capitol Hill, have labeled Vice President Kamala Harris, who is the first black and Asian American woman to serve as vice president and be on a major party ticket, as a DEI hire. Is that acceptable language to you? And will you tell those Republicans and those supporters to stop it?
How do you define DEI? Go ahead. How do you define
diversity, equity, inclusion?
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Is that what your definition?
That is
give me a
literally
definition
the words
then. Would you give me a definition
DEI.
of that? Give me a definition.
Sir,
of
I'm
that.
asking you a question,
No,
a
you
very
have to
direct
define
question.
it. Define it for me, if you would.
I just defined it, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a black woman?
Well, I can say no. I think it's maybe a little bit different. So, I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly, very much, and she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
She has always
But you know
identified
what?
as a black woman.
I
She went to a
respect
historically
either
black
one.
college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she became a black person.
Just to be clear, sir, do
And
you
I
believe
think,
that
I think
she is
somebody should look into that too when you ask continue in a very hostile, nasty tone.
It's a direct question, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is a DEI hire, as some
I
Republicans
really don't
have
know.
said?
I mean, I really don't know. Could be. There are some, and there are plenty of black.
She has always
But you know
identified
what?
as a black woman.
I
She went to a
respect
historically
either
black
one.
college.
Black.
She has always
But you know
identified
what?
as a black woman.
I
She went to a
respect either
historically black
one.
college.
So the 31st of July, he got roasted, but somehow the media spinned it like he dropped a mixtape. People were actually cheering for him instead of her.
I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, sir. A lot of people did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today. You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabid to describe black district attorneys. You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking black supporters to vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network. And I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit. I love the black population of this country. I've done so much for the black population of this country. I have been the best president for the black population since Abraham Lincoln. That's my answer.
Better than President Johnson, who signed the Voting Rights Act?
For you to start off a question and answer.
Why come here? What is your message today?
My message is to stop people from invading our country that are taking, frankly, a lot of problems with it. But one of the big problems, and a lot of the journalists in this room I know and I have great respect for, a lot of the journalists in this room are black. I will tell you that coming from the border are millions and millions of people that happen to be taking black jobs. You had the best.
What exactly is a black job, sir?
A black job is anybody that has a job. That's what it is. Anybody that has a job.
All right.
And they're taking the employment away from black people.
We mentioned how both sides of the political spectrum are both puppets. A carefully scripted drama, with the elite casting roles of hero and villain according to their agenda. When it comes to Kamala Harris, her rhetoric and style resonates as the more obvious choice. You'll see why. She doesn't threaten to terminate the Constitution, for one. She has her own baggage of wrongdoings, yet out of the two, she's the least troublesome.
Donald Trump spoke at the annual meeting of the National Association of Black Journalists, and it was the same old show. The divisiveness and the disrespect. And let me just say, the American people deserve better. The American people deserve better. The American people deserve a leader who tells the truth, a leader who does not respond with hostility and anger when confronted with the facts. We deserve a leader who understands that our differences do not divide us. This month, the Supreme Court basically just told the former president, who has been convicted of fraud, that going forward, he will be immune for activity we know he is prepared to engage in if he gets back into the White House. Recall, Donald Trump has openly vowed, if reelected, to be a dictator on day one, that he will weaponize the Department of Justice against his political enemies, that he will round up peaceful protesters and throw them out of our country, and even, quote, terminate the United States Constitution.
Welcome back. Taking a live look at the White House as the race for the Oval Office is heating up. New polls showing VP Kamala Harris leading former President Trump in 4 key battleground states.
The voting system serves as a means to reap consent to be ruled by their predetermined outcome rather than offering genuine choice. What do you think will be the result of who the elite hand the throne to next? How awful would things get under a Trump regime?
Trying to click over to watch that Trump-Musk talk, which I believe is still ongoing. For most of the time, you couldn't do it for about 40 minutes. And when the interview finally did get underway, Trump went into his normal stump speech, including more Kamala Harris insults. He's doing exactly what a lot of people are trying to tell him not to do, which is attacking Harris not on substance, but just because she exists.
People are tired of this act. It's a Vegas lounge act now. He needs new material. And the insults are something that, particularly for moderates and moderate women, who are an important constituency, if Trump thinks he's going to win this time around, they don't want to hear this.
Recall that Trump has been friends with disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein since the late 1980s, while Elon Musk has been pictured with Ghislaine Maxwell. Like, is this really what America endorses?
Trump knew the cameras were there. In the video, he makes a point to draw Epstein's attention to them. And the video captures Donald Trump and Epstein chatting while watching a group of women at the party dance. It's not an image that matches Trump's declaration that he was not a fan of Epstein's. He said, quote, he's a lot of fun to be with. It's even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do. And many of them are on the younger side. No doubt about it, Jeffrey enjoys his social life. So even that, I mean, to Bob Costa's point, in 2002, Trump had knowledge that Epstein liked women who were, quote, on the younger side.
And here's my question. How many times did you see him? Was it 1? Was it 100?
Right.
Was he at your house? Was he at your house?
You were pumping your fist in the air and saying fight, fight, fight. And I think that's, the president of the United States represents America. And I think that is America. That is strength under fire. Part of the reason why I was excited to endorse you as the president of the United States for having another term here is that was just incredibly inspiring. But I mean, what was it like for you?
Not pleasant, I have to be honest.
Pleasant.
I said there was blood. I had more blood. I didn't know I had that much blood. We're going to have a big election coming up, and I think November 5th will be the most important day in the history of our country. I think that election will be the most important election, and I think it'll end up being maybe the most important day in the history of our country, because if we don't win, I just feel so sorry for everybody.
You're the right path, so I think that's what it comes down to.
Thank you very much, Elon. It's a great honor, and we'll do it again sometime. And it's been really fun, and I hope you got a lot of viewers. I hear you got a lot, but I hope you got I know you got a lot of them.
On August 14th of this year, Trump boasted at his rally in Asheville, North Carolina, that his administration, quote, never got the credit for the ventilators and all of the different things that we did, ... We had masks. We had mask factories opening.
So we never really got the credit we deserved for that with the ventilators and all of the different things that we did, the outfits, a lot of things. We were producing in New Hampshire and different places, masks. We had mask factories opening.
Never forget that near December 8th, 2020, when Donald Trump was president, he announced the draconian measures of Operation Warp Speed to accelerate COVID-19 mass vaccine development and distribution. Was that his idea of making America great again?
It's called Operation Warp Speed. You really could say that nobody's seen anything like we're doing, whether it's ventilators or testing.
So it's really hypocritical and odd that around August 15th of this year, we're seeing Trump remark about Kamala's hypothetical response with revamping COVID fear.
The left-wing lunatics are trying very hard to bring back COVID lockdowns and mandates with all of their sudden fear-mongering about the new variants that are coming. Gee whiz, you know what else is coming? An election.
Warrior Code posted that Kamala Harris Tim Walz equals 216 in ordinal, which is equivalent to 6 times 6 times 6. That's a powerful decode. What are the hidden nightmares behind the Harris-Walz campaign rabbit hole? Stay tuned for our next video, where we will decode the Democratic National Convention so we can talk about our final hypothesis on who the powers that be have pre-selected to win the November 5th phony elections. In conclusion for now,
from Donald Trump's privileged mogul trust fund inheritance of his family's real estate empire, to a career marked by a dozen bankruptcies, numerous guilty fraud settlements, hundreds of MK Ultra TV and film appearances.
There was Sex in the City.
I'll be at my office at Trump Tower.
It's the Donald! Oh my God! On WrestleMania. I've never seen a barber. Trump's also appeared in movies. Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. There he is with current wife Melania in Zoolander.
Without Derek Zoolander, male modeling wouldn't be what it is today.
Several admissions of misconduct and over 26 public records or more allegations against him.
Women who say they were harassed by Trump are calling for a congressional investigation.
About 12 years ago, as a young receptionist in Trump Tower, I was forcibly kissed by Mr. Trump during our first introduction.
Samantha Holvey was a beauty contestant with dreams of becoming Miss USA.
These dreams never included a man lining us all up to look us over like we were pieces of meat.
The women who spoke here were just 3 of the 16 accusers.
They were all it was all fiction. It was lies and it was fiction. Nobody has more respect for women than I do. Nobody.
Add in 2 impeachments during his presidency for abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. And if that wasn't enough controversy, Donald Trump was even arrested in 2023 where his mugshot broke the internet. In New York, he's accused of a hush money scheme.
Photo of when Donald met Stormy was just the start of potentially deeply damaging evidence today in the former president's hush money trial in New York City. This is just one of the 4 criminal trials he's now facing. He's accused of trying to keep his affair with Stormy Daniels, real name Stephanie Clifford, a secret in the run-up to the presidential election of 2016 by hiding payments made by his lawyer, Michael Cohen.
$130,000 wire transfer from me to Miss Clifford's attorney during the closing days of the presidential campaign that was demanded by Miss Clifford to maintain her silence about her affair with me.
She says when she returned from the bathroom to find him in his underwear, she thought to herself, "Oh my God, what did I misread to get here?" She said she blacked out after Trump prevented her from leaving the room, though she says she'd consumed no drugs or alcohol.
And in Georgia, he's accused of election interference of the 2020 presidential race. To say the least, his reputation is stained in bloody controversy. He has the qualifications of a convicted felon, and yet still, he's convincing netizens through his bot army to vote for him for re-election. Who do you think will win the US elections? Thanks for watching. Stay tuned as we continue to cover the upcoming US elections and build our prediction for who we think will be pre-selected for the win.